I developed the three-finger technique because I realized that people needed a fast and practical way to reach the correct mental level, the state I call the alpha level. When you learn to enter this level, your mind becomes calmer, more focused, and far more creative. It is not always possible to close your eyes and go through the entire relaxation process to reach this state. That is why I created this shortcut, bringing together the thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger. Once conditioned, this simple gesture becomes an automatic signal for the mind to descend into the desired state. At the beginning, I explained that training is necessary. First, you must enter a level of relaxation by following the steps of the method. Once inside, clearly affirm that from now on, whenever you bring the three fingers together, your mind will return to this same level. By doing this repeatedly, your mind learns to obey the command. It is like programming a switch. When you turn it on, the light comes on. Here, when you make the gesture, your brain understands that it must enter this special state. The usefulness of this technique is enormous. For example, when you need to remember something you have studied, you can program that. When you use the three fingers, the information will come. I always say that you should be specific when using the three fingers. I will remember what I studied about this subject. In an exam, a presentation, or an important conversation, this gives you more confidence because your mind already knows where to look for what it needs. The technique becomes a practical and reliable memory key, but it is not used only for studying. I also taught the use of the three fingers in situations that require quick decisions or emotional clarity. Imagine that you have a difficult meeting or an important negotiation the night before, while in level program. When I bring my three fingers together, I will be calm, clear, and I will make the best decision. Then, in the real moment, simply use the gesture. This reduces anxiety and helps you act with balance because your mind has been trained to respond this way. Over time, concrete results appear. People who applied the technique correctly achieve better results in exams, interviews, and everyday life challenges. The explanation is simple. Through training, you condition your brain to associate the gesture with a state of calm and focus. When a moment of pressure arrives, instead of being dominated by tension, you activate your internal resources. The three-finger technique is simple yet powerful because it places in your hands a fast way to use the mind's potential in a practical manner. For the three-finger technique to truly work, the first step is to condition the mind. This means training until the brain associates the gesture with the desired state. Conditioning always begins within the alpha level. Therefore, it is necessary to practice the basic exercises of the method. Relax, close your eyes, and reach a deep state. It is in this internal environment that you can give clear and effective commands to your mind. That is where you begin to associate the three-finger gesture with a higher level of mental functioning. And in level affirm with conviction. From now on, whenever I bring together my thumb, index finger, and middle finger, I will automatically enter this level of mental functioning. This phrase does not need to be spoken out loud. It can be mental, but it must be felt with intention. The greater your emotional involvement, the faster your mind will record the command. This is the process of mental programming, which works in the same way we learn any habit through repetition and association. The gesture must be made during the exercise, bringing the three fingers together at the moment of programming. This reinforces the connection between the physical signal and the mental state. Just as a musician associates certain movements with the sound of a melody, your mind will learn to associate the gesture with deep relaxation. With practice, body and mind begin to respond automatically without conscious effort. This is the power of association, transforming something simple into a reliable key to access internal resources. Conditioning needs to be repeated several times. It is not enough to program it once and expect it to work forever. I always recommend that the student repeat the exercise daily for a period of time, until noticing that the gesture truly produces the desired response. The mind learns through reinforcement. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Once established, the conditioning becomes permanent, and you will be able to use it whenever you wish, without the need for long preparation. This initial training is essential, because without it, the gesture is nothing more than a simple movement. The effectiveness lies in the conscious programming performed at the alpha level. It is in this state that the brain is most receptive, most flexible, and ready to accept new commands. When you respect this process, the three-finger technique becomes a reliable tool, ready to help in exams, decisions, memory recall, or any situation in which you need to perform better. The secret lies in the initial discipline of conditioning. One of the most powerful applications of the three-finger technique is memory. I have always taught that the mind records far more than we believe, but the challenge lies in recalling it at the right moment. The three-finger gesture works as a trigger to bring back what has already been stored. When you program it correctly, you create a bridge between the study you have done and the moment when you need to use that knowledge. In this way, recall flows naturally without excessive effort. The procedure is clear. After finishing your study session or attending a class, enter level. Bring the three fingers together and say to yourself, whenever I use the three fingers, I will easily remember what I studied on this subject. It is important to mention the topic specifically, such as mathematics, history, or today's lecture. The more precise the programming, the more effective the response. In this way, you create a mental link between the content and the gesture, ensuring that your mind knows where to find the information. During practice, it is not necessary to review word by word. What matters is reinforcing the intention that the recall will come when needed. It is like marking a page in a book. The content is stored, and you simply place a marker to find it faster later. That marker, in this case, is the three fingers. When you are in an exam or a presentation, simply use the gesture to activate access. The mind responds with greater confidence, bringing to the surface the points you programmed. It is essential to practice first in simple situations to build confidence in the method. For example, program and level that when you bring the three fingers together, you will remember a short shopping list or a small sequence of numbers. Then use it in daily life to confirm the response. These exercises strengthen the conditioning and demonstrate that the process truly works. Gradually, you will notice that you can apply it to increasingly complex subjects and in situations of greater responsibility. This use for memory shows that the three-finger technique is not a trick, but a mental training tool. You teach your mind to obey conscious commands instead of leaving recall to chance. When applied with discipline, it transforms the way you study and prepare because it eliminates the insecurity of forgetting at important moments. In this way, you begin to trust yourself and the power of your mind, using the gesture as a key to open the doors of already acquired knowledge. I have always taught that the mind functions best when it is calm and focused. Many times, people make important decisions in a state of tension, and this limits clarity. The three-finger technique was also created to help in this area, quickly placing you in level where responses are more balanced and creative. Thus, when making a decision, you do not act solely on impulse or under pressure, but access a deeper level of perception. The process is simple, but it must be done consciously. At night, in level, program. Whenever I bring my three fingers together, I will make better, more logical, and fairer decisions for myself and others. By affirming this, you give a clear command. Then, in daily life, when faced with a dilemma or a difficult choice, simply bring the three fingers together. The programming done previously will be activated and will help your mind function in its ideal state. Many students ask whether this guarantees that they will never make a wrong decision. I always explain that this is not magic. What happens is that in this state, you reduce the interference of anxiety and confused thoughts. As a result, you gain greater access to logic, intuition, and accumulated experience. It is like cleaning a fogged window. Vision becomes clearer, and the choice tends to be more accurate. This clarity makes an enormous difference in situations of responsibility. The technique can be applied to both major and minor issues, from deciding a direction in business to handling a delicate family conversation. The three-finger gesture helps place you in the correct state of mind for thinking. When trained, the mind responds calmly and the body does as well. Many report feeling tension decrease, the heart rate slow down, and this alone contributes to better decisions with mind and body working together. This application shows that the method is not only for moments of study, but for life as a whole. Whenever you need to decide with greater clarity, you will have a reliable resource in your hands. With practice, you realize that choices become more conscious and that everyday results improve. The three-finger technique is therefore a practical way to bring the wisdom of the alpha level into daily life, making every decision more balanced and constructive. Many people live under constant pressure, whether at work, in their studies, or in relationships. Stress ends up blocking the mind and generating mistakes that could be avoided. The three-finger technique is a powerful resource for reducing this tension immediately. When the gesture is properly conditioned, it becomes a signal that places you in a state of calm and balance, even in the middle of hectic situations. It is like having an inner refuge always within reach. The process begins at the alpha level during the exercises. Their program, whenever I bring my three fingers together, I will feel calm and confident regardless of the situation. This programming is reinforced through repetition. Later in daily life, when you feel your body tense or your mind racing, simply bring the three fingers together and allow the programming to take effect. The mind recognizes the command and responds by reducing internal agitation. In seconds, you regain emotional control. This resource is especially useful in moments that commonly cause anxiety, such as speaking in public, taking an exam, or participating in an important meeting. In these moments, it is natural for the heart to race and negative thoughts to arise. When you use the three fingers, you do not need to fight these sensations. You simply activate the conditioning and allow your mind to return to a state of tranquility. As a result, you feel more secure in taking action and are able to express your abilities more effectively. It is also important to train in simple, everyday situations. When you are in traffic, waiting in line, or facing an ordinary task, use the three fingers to practice calm. The more you apply it in small moments, the stronger the conditioning becomes. In this way, when a truly challenging situation arises, the technique will already be solid and ready to function. This continuous practice transforms calm into a natural habit. By mastering this use, you discover that anxiety no longer needs to be a constant enemy. This does not mean it will never appear, but that you will have an effective resource to control it. The three-finger technique gives you the power to change your internal state in seconds without depending on external factors. This represents freedom, the freedom to choose how you respond to life. And this is one of the greatest achievements the method can offer. Communication is one of the areas in which we most need our best mental functioning. Often, during an important conversation, we become nervous, forget what we wanted to say, or express ourselves in a confused way. The three-finger technique helps precisely in these moments, because it places the mind in a state of calm and focus, facilitating clarity of speech and attentive listening. As a result, communication becomes more natural, more precise, and also more human. Conditioning begins at the alpha level. Their program, whenever I bring my three fingers together, I will communicate clearly, confidently, and calmly. By linking the gesture with the deep state, you create a command that can later be used in any conversation. This programming must be repeated with conviction so that the mind accepts it as truth. Overchimi. The simple act of bringing the fingers together will awaken in you the calm needed to think and speak more effectively. Imagine, for example, that you need to speak in public. Anxiety may interfere. But if you have already conditioned the three fingers, you can use them before you begin. The gesture helps reduce nervousness and organize your thoughts. Or consider a delicate conversation with a family member. By bringing the fingers together, you gain emotional balance, avoiding impulsive responses. This opens space for more constructive and less reactive communication. The technique is also useful for listening. Often, we are so focused on responding that we fail to truly hear what the other person is saying. When you use the three fingers, your mind enters a state of focus and presence. As a result, you listen more attentively and understand more deeply. This quality of listening strengthens relationships and prevents misunderstandings because it creates a genuine connection with others. Communication stops being only about speaking and becomes also about knowing how to listen. Over time, you will notice that this resource improves all kinds of interactions at work, in studies, at home, or in social situations. The three-finger gesture becomes a silent ally that helps maintain calm and clarity. In this way, you are able to express what you feel and think with greater confidence and better understand the people around you. This is a practical and valuable application of the method, bringing immediate and lasting benefits to life. In certain situations, there is no time for long relaxation exercises. We need to act quickly, with clarity and balance. It is precisely for these moments that the three-finger technique proves especially useful. When the gesture is well conditioned, it becomes an immediate resource. In seconds, you can activate the alpha level and regain mental control, even in the middle of an emergency. This can make the difference between reacting with panic and acting with serenity. The preparation is the same, still at level, program that when you bring the three fingers together, you will remain calm in any unexpected situation. Repeat this programming with conviction, imagining yourself in moments of tension and noticing how you respond with tranquility. This visualization strengthens the conditioning. Then, when a real emergency arises, your mind will already be trained to obey the command and produce the desired state of calm and clarity. Imagine, for example, that you need to help someone in an accident or deal with a critical situation at work. Natural stress can paralyze you, but the three-finger gesture reminds your mind to stay focused. Instead of panicking, you are able to think more clearly and act efficiently. This response does not happen by chance. It is the result of repeated training at level, where the mind learned to connect the gesture with a more balanced internal state. Another common use is in emotional emergencies, a heated argument, unexpected news, or a sudden conflict. In these situations, the body reacts with acceleration and tension, but bringing the three fingers together helps interrupt this cycle. By activating the programming, you breathe more easily, feel your body relax, and are able to respond with greater balance. This helps you avoid saying or doing something impulsive, preserving both your relationships and your inner peace. This use demonstrates the practical value of the technique. It is simple and accessible at any moment. It does not depend on a quiet environment, closing your eyes, or stopping everything. You can use it on the street, in a meeting, or under any circumstances. When trained correctly, you carry with you a tool to maintain control, even when the world around you seems to lose its balance. It is this practicality that makes the three-finger technique so special. Self-confidence is one of the most important qualities for success in any area of life. Many people fail not because of a lack of ability, but because they doubt themselves at the decisive moment. The three-finger technique is a powerful tool for strengthening inner confidence. When you program the mind to respond with security, the gesture becomes a physical reminder that you can trust your own resources. As a result, you present yourself to the world with greater steadiness and clarity. The training begins, as always, at the alpha level. There program phrases such as, "Whenever I bring my three fingers together, I will feel confident in myself and know how to act with assurance." This programming must be repeated in a deep state until the mind accepts it as a natural command. The gesture then becomes more than a simple movement. It turns into an anchor that immediately awakens the feeling of confidence. With each repetition, this conditioning becomes stronger in real-life situations. This technique helps in many situations: speaking in public, presenting a project, facing a job interview, or even starting an important conversation. In these moments, it is common to feel insecure. But when you bring the three fingers together, you remind your mind that you are prepared and capable of acting with calm. This physical signal interrupts negative thoughts and places you in the right state to express the best of yourself. It is important to reinforce this practice in small, everyday challenges. For example, use the three fingers before speaking with someone new or before sharing an idea in a group. These small accumulated victories strengthen confidence even more. With each positive experience, your mind learns that it can trust both the technique and itself. Over time, insecurity, once considered natural, gradually gives way to a firm and balanced posture. In this way, the three-finger technique becomes a constant ally in strengthening self. It does not replace preparation, nor does it eliminate effort, but it helps bring to light the best that already exists within you. When used with discipline, it allows you to feel secure in any environment, without being dominated by doubt or fear. This inner security opens doors as it transmits an energy of credibility to others. And all of this arises from a simple gesture. Trained with awareness, the human mind has a natural ability to perceive beyond the obvious. We call this ability intuition, and it manifests when we are in deeper and calmer mental states. The problem is that in the fast pace of daily life, many people are unable to hear this inner voice. The three-finger technique was also created to open this channel of perception, making it easier to access information that the conscious mind often ignores. Training is done at the alpha level. Their program, "Whenever I bring my three fingers together, I will be more receptive to my intuition and able to perceive the best answers." This affirmation, repeated with conviction, creates a bridge between the gesture and the awakening of this sensitivity. Over time, you will notice that when you use the three fingers, ideas, impressions, and solutions arise naturally and spontaneously as if coming from within. A practical example: when you must choose between two paths in a decision, bring the three fingers together and allow your deeper mind to express itself. You may notice a sense of comfort regarding one choice and an inner alert regarding the other. This perception does not come from outside, but from your own mind, which gathers experiences, memories, and observations that the conscious mind has not been able to organize. Intuition is the silent synthesis of this material. It is also important to practice in simple situations, such as choosing a book, planning an activity, or solving a small problem. In this way, you train your mind to respond from a deeper state rather than reacting. Each time, intuition proves accurate. You strengthen your trust in the technique. And even when things are not immediately clear, the habit of seeking this perception already places your mind in a more attentive and receptive state. Thus, the three-finger technique is not only useful for memory, communication, or rational decisions, but also for opening space for the intuitive side of the mind. It unites logic with subtle perception, creating a powerful balance. With practice, you discover that intuition is not a gift for a few, but a natural ability that can be cultivated. The three-finger gesture then becomes a key to accessing this inner wisdom whenever you need it. When I developed the three-finger technique, my goal was to offer people a practical resource that could be used at any moment in life. Over the years, I observed that this simple gesture became a powerful key to memory, communication, decision-making, intuition, and emotional balance. All of this is possible because the mind learns to respond to clear commands when they are properly programmed at level. The technique is simple, but the results are profound. It is important to remember that nothing happens by chance. The effectiveness of the technique depends on the initial training, repeated conditioning, and discipline in applying the teachings. Many people seek complicated solutions, but the mind responds best to simplicity. A gesture performed with intention and practice can become an instrument for transforming your life. This is the essence of the method, using the simple to awaken the great within you. In each topic presented, I showed how the three-finger gesture can be applied in different areas. It helps you remember what you studied, make more balanced decisions, reduce anxiety, improve communication, strengthen self-confidence, and even develop intuition. In all cases, the principle is the same. Train at level and apply it in everyday life. The technique works as a bridge between the inner world and the outer world. Continuous practice transforms this gesture into a natural part of your life. You will no longer need to think much to apply it. Your mind will respond automatically, like a healthy habit. And the more you use it, the more you will notice the difference in the way you live. This is the true benefit: learning to live with greater balance, confidence, and wisdom by consciously using the power of your own mind. I conclude by reinforcing a simple truth. Within you exist resources far greater than you imagine. The Silva method was created to help you awaken and use these resources. The three-finger technique is just one of its tools, yet it already clearly demonstrates the potential that lies in your hands. Use it with discipline, confidence, and purpose. By doing so, you will discover that life becomes clearer, richer, and more aligned with what you truly desire.